We moved into my grandparents' old house back in 2016 when I was 9. They had built it themselves in the early 90s, way out on the edge of a small southern town. The kind of place where the woods go quiet at night and the river behind the property moves slow and dark, like it's hiding something. Our nearest neighbors were just across the fence line. Their land was wrong. That's the only way I can put it. The house looked like it had been slowly sinking into the ground for decades. It started as a farmhouse back in the 1920s, but over the years someone just kept tacking extra rooms onto it. Crooked, uneven, mismatched. The siding always looked wet, even on days it hadn't rained. The yard was worse, like a graveyard of things people gave up caring about. Broken fountains swallowed by weeds, headless garden gnomes, plastic bags flapping in the trees. A rusted lawnmower sat in the middle of the grass like it had died there. And in that house lived 2 elderly sisters, Violet and Agnes, and 3 kids. The boy Liam was my age. The 2 younger girls, Allison and Kelsey, were around my sister's age. Liam was strange, not just awkward, wrong. He'd just appear in our house with no knocking, no calling, nothing. I'd turn around while playing video games and he'd be standing in my doorway, staring like he'd been there the whole time. Once I caught him doing cannonballs into our pool. Another time he walked into our kitchen, opened our fridge, and started eating leftover pizza with his hands. He liked anime, but not in the normal way kids do. He'd quote lines in Japanese and get angry when I didn't react. And sometimes I'd see this look in his eyes, like he was imagining something violent, something that made him happy. He once chased me with garden shears, laughing like it was a game. And another time, on the old wooden bridge over the creek, I swear he tried to push me off. He said it was a joke, but the way he smiled afterward, I know he meant it. The girls were different, quiet, like shadows. Their clothes were always dirty. They spoke like toddlers. They flinched at sudden noises. They always looked hungry. Their dad was in and out of jail, but it was their mother who scared me most. Her name was Teresa. The first time I met her, she was hooking up a garden hose by the fence. She was tall, heavy-set, with long black curls and glasses that looked like they came from the 80s. But unlike the rest of the family, she was clean, neat, put together. She asked me to help with the faucet. I turned the handle. It wasn't stuck at all. She clapped her hands like I'd performed a miracle.
"You're strong," she said. "You must be special."
Then she looked me dead in the eye and said,
"Did you know you have a third eye?"
I remember feeling my stomach drop. She told me to follow her, and I did. The smell hit me the second we stepped inside. Rot, mold, sour leftover food, trash bags ripped open, rotting diapers behind the couch. But upstairs, her room was spotless. Pink wallpaper, soft carpet, porcelain dolls lined up on shelves. The air smelled like rose water. She sat me on a little stool, then opened a drawer and pulled out a silver tray with a black candle, a crystal, and a leather-bound book with a pentagram carved into the cover. I froze. I was raised Catholic. I knew exactly what that symbol meant. Then I noticed more of them, on the jewelry box, etched into the mirror, scratched into the floorboards under the rug. My heart started pounding. I bolted. I didn't say goodbye. I just ran. 3 years later, in 2019, Agnes died in the living room, right in front of the kids. At the funeral, there was one woman I didn't recognize, sobbing uncontrollably. No one spoke to her, no one looked at her. The whole thing felt wrong. And then Liam disappeared. The story was that he tried to hurt one of the twins and was put in a psychiatric facility. My parents sat my sister and I down that night and told us,
"We were never to go near that family again."
No arguments, no questions.
And suddenly everything made sense. They moved away eventually. All of them. Except Violet. She died alone in that collapsing house in 2020. The property went up for auction and one of my old teachers bought it. My family and I visited to see the renovations. Everything was bright and new and fresh. But the moment I walked into the upstairs bedroom, her bedroom, my skin crawled. There was new carpet, new paint, but I knew the pentagram was still there, even if you couldn't see it. The room remembered. Last year, my teacher asked me to dog sit for a week. I thought I could handle it. The dogs were sweet. The house looked normal, until the last night. I was about to leave when the pug, Henry, froze at the base of the stairs and started barking. Not playful barking, deep, frantic barking. Then, Thump. Something moved upstairs. Then again, thump. Heavier this time. I didn't check. I didn't look. I ran. And the whole walk home, I felt like something was following me. It's 2025 now. And a girl from school told me she saw Teresa. She started a religious group out in the woods. She calls herself a truth seer. And flyers have started appearing around town. I still have nightmares about her. And about Liam. They stand at the foot of my bed, silent, staring. And every time I pass by that property, even though it's different now, I get chills. Because the paint, the new furniture, the renovations, those are just surface level. That house remembers, and it never let go.
I'm a long-haul truck driver. Been doing it for years. I'm used to the silence, the darkness, and the stretches of highway where you don't see another soul for miles. But there was one night, a few years back, that I still think about every time I get behind the wheel. I was on my second-to-last delivery of a long cross-state haul, just trying to finish up and get home. The route took me down one of those desert highways that barely exist on a map. Nothing but sand, rock, and sky. No gas stations, no towns, no headlights except your own. The kind of road where you start to feel like you're the only person left alive. About an hour from my next stop, I noticed something in my side mirror. A dark SUV, far back, trailing me. Not close, not aggressive, but always there. If I sped up, it sped up. If I slowed down, it slowed down. It kept the exact same distance for nearly 40 miles. Never passed, never fell behind. Just hovered in my mirrors like a shadow I couldn't shake. At first, I tried to shrug it off. Maybe the driver was nervous. Maybe they didn't like night driving. But the longer it stayed back there, the worse the feeling in my gut got. Eventually, I decided to pull into a small roadside rest area. Barely even a stop. Just a dirt lot, a few faded parking lines, and a vending machine shed lit by one flickering bulb. I figured the SUV would keep going, but it didn't. It pulled in too, and parked in the far corner. Engine off. No lights. That was the moment the unease turned into anger. Whoever was in that car had been following me long enough. I was done. I climbed out of my cab and started marching toward the SUV, fully ready to tell them exactly what I thought of this creepy little tailing act. But before I got even halfway across the lot, the SUV roared back to life and sped out, kicking up dust as it tore down the road like it was running from something. I never saw the driver's face, just darkness behind tinted glass. I stood there alone in the desert, breathing hard, watching its taillights vanish. Part of me was relieved. The other part was very, very wrong, because that confirmed it. Someone had been following me. And they didn't want me to know who they were. The vending machines were empty, not a single drink or snack inside. Great. By the time I got back to my truck, exhaustion hit me all at once. The adrenaline crash is real. So I locked everything up and decided to grab a short nap. Just an hour or two. I reclined my seat, cracked the window for air, and closed my eyes. I fell asleep almost instantly. But I'm a light sleeper. You learn to be. Out there, if something touches your truck while you sleep, that could be your life. Maybe an hour passed before I woke up to a sound. Crunch. Soft, gravel shifting. Footsteps. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I slowly tilted one of the window blinds. Two figures crouched beside my trailer wheels. One of them was shining a small flashlight, careful to aim it low, away from the truck. The other reached into a bag and pulled out bolt cutters. They were trying to break in, steal the cargo. I didn't think. I slammed my palm onto the horn. The air horn shattered the silence. Both men jumped like they'd been electrocuted. They bolted toward the brush. And then, from the highway, it appeared again. The SUV. Lights off, silent, waiting. The two men dove inside and the SUV tore away into the night, disappearing just as fast as before. I never got a plate. Never saw a face. The police eventually showed up. They found fresh pry marks on the trailer latch. They had been seconds away from getting it open. The officers told me this kind of thing happens more than people realize. Cargo thieves. They follow trucks for hours, waiting for a dark stretch of road, a tired driver, a quiet stop. I think about that night a lot, about how easily I could have slept through the footsteps, about what might have happened if I hadn't woken up, if they had gotten inside my trailer, if they had decided to finish the job a different way. The desert is big, the road is empty, and you never really know who's behind you in the dark.
There's a small apartment block on the outskirts of town, the kind of place people move into when they're trying to start over or trying to disappear. The building has a staircase that leads up to the second floor. It's nothing special except for one detail: the fourth step always creaks. No matter how light you step, no matter what shoes you're wearing, it lets out this sharp, dry sound, like something snapped beneath your foot. Everyone who lives there knows that sound. Everyone hears it multiple times a day. But one tenant, a woman named Layla, started noticing it at night. The first time, she thought someone had come home late. Creak. A single step on the staircase. Then silence. She waited, expecting the sound of more steps, someone climbing or descending. But nothing followed. Just that one creak. Like someone had stepped onto the fourth step and then simply stayed there. It happened again the next night. Creak, silence, then again, creak, silence. After a week of this, Layla finally opened her door one night, just a crack, and peered out into the stairwell. There was no one there, but the sound kept happening, like she could hear the weight of someone who wasn't visible. Some of the older tenants knew what she was talking about before she even finished explaining. "Oh," one of them said quietly, "you heard him." Years ago, they told her, a man had lived in her exact apartment. Quiet, kept to himself, never raised his voice. He was polite. He always helped carry groceries, but no one really knew him. One night, he went out to the stairwell, sat down on the fourth step, and never got back up. Heart failure, sudden, silent. He died sitting there. The ambulance took him away, but the sound of him stayed. They say he still sits on that step. They say he waits there, even now. Nobody ever sees him. Nobody ever hears anything except that one single creak. The sound of someone who doesn't know they're gone. Layla moved out not long after, but the fourth step still creaks. And sometimes, late at night, the silence after it feels like something is sitting very, very still. Right there, just outside your door.